Hi, my name is Charles and I work on the Altru support team. In this quick video, I'm going to show you the new expanded mapping options for programs in the ticketing office. We're going to navigate to the GL mapping for the ticketing office. We're going to review the new options there and then discuss other considerations regarding changing your configuration. Let's get started. Okay, I'm on the home screen. From here, we want to take a look at administration. Then, the general ledger setup. Drill down into this page, and here you'll see all of our general ledger options. We're going to focus on defining the transaction mapping. From here, we'll click into ticketing. Now we can take a look at our new options. Let's open up a pre-existing item and we'll see where we can expand what we already have mapped. So I'm going to double click on what we have for admissions, fee, and event registration. Prior to this version, the only options you would have here are revenue type and resource category. We have added program, fee, taxes, facility, and of course merchandise functionality. This allows you to be much more specific in terms of how programs are booked to the general ledger. For instance, if we hit the drop down for programs, you'll notice now we're going to get a list of all of the programs that are set up in your database, and we can make a distinction from program to program for the account code part of our general ledger mapping, which is very important to most of our customers. I'm going to go ahead and map something specific for laser Floyd. Click OK. Now, from here, we can go ahead and hit save. However, notice now that we don't have mapping set up for anything other than the one program that we chose. So we'll need to add another layer of mapping for either all of the additional programs or create a mapping for each independent program. So to account for our other programs, we'll need to add a secondary mapping. Let's select account code for both of these, and I'm just going to choose something for us really quick. There's our asset account, and over here we're going to pick a revenue account. Great. Now in order to light up the other options to select our programs we want, we need to select from the revenue drop-down first. In here, we'll choose admission. Click OK. Now we have a filter for programs again. Select the drop-down. From this list, we can make individual selections and complete this entire grid if we wanted to. I'm going to choose all programs and click OK. And click Save. You'll notice the system is not going to let you map something twice. This is important to note when going through the process. Once you've decided to map programs to individual account codes, then you no longer have the option to map everything at once. So you'll need to come through the screen several times and create individual mappings for each programs, or at the very least, groupings of mappings. So let's click OK to this message and let's resolve it by coming through here and removing this All Programs dropdown. For instance, let's just set up a few in here. Right. So now we have our art class, our art tour, and our test program set up. Click OK, then save. You'll notice now we have multiple lines for admissions. One here which contains just our laser Floyd program, and one below that contains mappings for 4 other programs. At this point, things are still incomplete as we have programs that aren't mapped, so be very careful to make sure everything is mapped before you leave this area. Now, once you've done the specific mapping, for orders, we want to repeat the process for payments. Luckily, there isn't too much extra to do here. Let's look at a pre-existing setup. This should be fine going forward. You'll note here the revenue types are still broken down by admission, fee, event registration, and payment methods, but we're not concerned with programs on the payment end. all that information is going to flow from the order, and that's where we make the distinction. So you shouldn't have to come through here and do any changes in payments unless you want to review this setup at this point and make edits for bank processing. Let's hit cancel. Now, one important consideration once you have your mappings set up is to ensure that these mappings are going to generate account numbers that are actually present in the system. One way to check this would be to go through and process some admissions tickets and make sure that all of the programs that you're seeding for will allow the system to complete the order. It's a good idea to go back to your general ledger account page and review the accounts that you have there and make sure that any values you chose for your mapping exist in a complete account string. So on our GL accounts page, let's drill in and see what we have set up. The master list appears. The segment we're concerned with is the second segment for me. That's my account code. So I just need to make sure that the account codes that I've just put in for my mapping exist in this list, and this entire account string exists for any combination of other segments that have already been mapped. This should be pretty straightforward. If you're adding new accounts to the system or adding new segments to the system, you'll always have to come back here. But if you're just rearranging accounts and segments that already existed, it's good to review this, but chances are you're probably okay. This concludes our training video for the new mapping features in programs. You should be able to access the program mapping, create individual mappings for programs specifically for account codes, and then review your GL accounts and ensure that you have all the accounts that you need as a result of the new mappings that you've set up. Thanks for watching.